Hello, everyone. Welcome to the training today. I'm Ashley Samber, and I'm an account executive with Rapid Funnel. Today, we're going to be talking about social on steroids. How can we get high quality prospects in an inexpensive way? What are a couple of the challenges that we experience with trying to reach out to people and actually get prospects that are good and interested in what we have to share? A couple of those are finding quality leads are difficult, and actually knowing if people are interested or if they want to hear more about what we have to offer, and it's oftentimes expensive if you're having to buy leads or find other avenues to get to them. Social is free, but it's like building on rented land. So as you know, I'm sure you've experienced this. I know I have. Whenever I start to look up things on Facebook or I click on a link, suddenly I get presented with all kinds of things along that line. And so what it's doing is it's reading, it has an algorithm that shows what am I doing? What are the words I'm interested in? What am I looking at? And then it starts presenting me with things that are related to that. So for instance, if you're posting all of your products, if you're talking about different things with people, posting it on social media, sometimes what that will do, and your guests are clicking around on it, sometimes what that will do is it will start to present them with your competitors because it has the algorithm to look at that. So how do we adjust so that we can utilize social media, but social media is not using us? And then maintaining your qualified prospects on social opens them up to sponsored ads from competition. Like I just talked about, it's reading exactly what people are clicking on, looking into further, and then it starts presenting them with those sponsored advertisements. So what can we do in the app to mitigate this? We want to use social, but we don't want to let them use us. So we can do that by sending a survey and posting a survey out to our social media. Our guests and our friends can click on it, answer it, give us their information, and then it comes back into the app. So everything else we share with that person from that point forward is shared from the app. Not only is it sent from the app, but everything that you send and share with them is captured in your activity log. So you can keep track individually with every single contact you're reaching out to, which is fantastic. People like to talk about themselves and share problem-aware surveys to create interest. So I don't know about you, but when I go to dinner parties and things like that, I ask a lot of questions and people will say, oh my gosh, that was such a great conversation. It wasn't a conversation. I just encourage them to talk about themselves. And so that's really what we're doing with these surveys. These surveys are super well written. We are trying to get them to answer a specific question that then helps you know what to send next based on their answers. Your app will create a new contact linked to the answers. So for instance, if I post it out to my social media and I put a survey out there, they are going to complete the survey. And at the very end, it asks them for their name, email, phone number, for them to submit that back when they submit the survey. Well, now I have their contact information. I have everything I need to be able to start to communicate with them, when prior to that, they might have just been somebody I knew from high school and I had their social media, we were friends, but I didn't have any of their contact information to actually send additional information to them that is of interest based on how they answered their survey. And then choose the best follow-up materials based on their responses. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to know you care and they have a problem and you can meet it. And so you can always say, hey, based on your answers, I found this. And based off of what I found from you, I just had to tell you about this other product. When I started using it, I was a little nervous, but now what I found is it's been fantastic for me in these ways, which now you're relating to them, you've heard them, and you actually can start to send them information based on something that is of interest to them. And I know I've mentioned this on previous calls, but one of the other fantastic features in this app, when you send information directly from the app, you can see what they are clicking on. You can see how much of a video they're watching. So that is a lot of the reason why we want to get the survey to them. And then we want to get their information and pull them back into the app so that we can quickly share information with them and keep track. Because if you're talking to 20 people, even 5 people, sometimes it's hard to remember what you have sent them. And that is one of the quickest ways to lose someone, is to send them the same resource you just sent them yesterday. And so there's multiple ways in the app for us to tell that. And I will go ahead and jump in now to show you how this works, how you can send the surveys via social media and post it. I'm also going to show you how you can see the results of the survey, what people have answered. And then from there, you can go in and actually send them resources from that point forward. So I'll stop sharing here and start sharing my phone. Okay, so here we are in your app. Again, this is what we call the dashboard. It has all of your stats right here at a quick glance. So for instance, if I wanted to share a survey, I'm not necessarily sending it to any specific person because we're just putting it out on social media. So I can click here on resources. I can click OG opportunity. Now we've got multiple surveys throughout the app. Okay, I'm just going to show you this one specifically. Peak. 1 minute, I'm going to click on the 1 minute survey. You click the box to the left of the resource that you want to send. And then you're going to, instead of sending it via text message, because we're not sending it to a specific person, we're posting it on our social media, you're going to click this little button to the right in the bottom. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up all of the apps that you have available in your phone. Okay. So for instance, I could click Facebook, and then now it's pulling up my page. It has this survey. I could type in a little blurb of, hey, I'm doing some market research. You know, friends and family, fill this out, or whatever you wanted to say. And then now that is going to post this to your home page on Facebook. Okay. So I'm going to discard that. And then now, as people start to fill that out, you will start to see contacts come into your phone that you have not entered. Because again, at the end of that survey, I'm going to show you this real quick. So if I click this little open to the right of the survey, it's going to open up this survey for me. Once they have answered these questions, they have to provide for me this information. Okay, so by doing this, it's going to create a contact in my app for them. So I go to my dashboard. If I look up at the very top, for instance, right now I have 34, but as people start to answer them, I may get 40, okay? So I click on contacts, and this brings me to my contact page. Now you can always sort your contact page. I click the 3 lines up to the top right, kind of by that funnel. You can always sort it by new to old. So for instance, if I put out a survey, I want to see anybody that's maybe been created that I didn't necessarily create. So I would do it, sort my contacts by new to old, click done. And then for instance, Micah Phone, let's say he had completed this for me via social media. I can click on his name. I can go to notes, and then I can see his answers to the survey that I sent him. So do you identify with this statement? I am the type of person who would much rather be my own boss and have my own company than work for someone else. His response is yes. So I'm starting to see that this guy's got some entrepreneurial personality. Do you believe that the best way to achieve financial freedom is to have your own business? Yes. Okay, great. This guy would be interested. He'd be open to talking to me about the opportunity. Do you identify with this statement? I am the kind of person who would much rather have a stable 9-to-5 job with predictable income. And he said yes. So again, some of these things are going to drive your conversation with them. And you know, hey, when I first started learning about this, I felt the same way. Like I had a 9-to-5 job. It was great. Feel, felt, found. And then I felt like this. Well, what I found was, and then you continue down that path. So that's always a great way to make someone feel heard, but also to slowly guide them toward, you know, what you're wanting to share with them as well. So that is the gist of sharing out your surveys to make sure that you're using social media to get contacts and to share what you have, but also not letting them take advantage of you by marketing to your prospects. So I want to highlight real quickly before we jump out of this section, I will talk about what we're going to teach you next week, and then I'm going to open it up to question and answer. So let me get out of sharing here, and then I will share my screen again, and we'll talk through the next session. So next week, we're going to talk about trust builds businesses. How do we use referrals from friends to be able to continue to share with new people that might not have otherwise been in our world or had contact with? So using our friends' friends to start to share with as well.